All right, guys. Hey, how you doing? Ronan Man here. Hey, I want to talk today about sugar daddies and sugar babies and the whole kind of ecosystem that's come up around this. I think a lot of guys, when they hear about this, I don't know. Have you heard about this? Sugar daddies, sugar babies. Have you seen the TV shows about it? Look on the link below. There's a link about an ABC News show. It's just one, but it give you an idea of what it is. And just in case you don't know, I'm sure you do, but just in case, it's like websites that connect wealthy guys with younger women who basically get subsidized. Their life is subsidized. And sometimes the guys, I guess most of the time they have sex. On the TV shows, they try to make it look like some don't, but I just find that hard to believe. And I would say that's probably pretty rare. Most guys that are giving women, huge money to accompany them are going to want sex, right? So obviously most rational people would, that's pretty easy to figure out. But let's talk about this because I've had a lot of experiences with this now. And it's interesting. I've run into situations where, my friends or people I know are doing it, and both on the girls and the guys side. Anybody that knows me knows this channel. This is like, I am definitely not a customer for sugar daddy baby stuff, man. I mean, if anything, it's very clear. If girls want my attention, I'm a cool guy. So if they want to be around me, one, they got to shape up. They got to have their shit together. And two, it's nice, especially in my 20s, girls used to give me money and pay for everything, So we're going to talk about how to do that in future episode. I've taught it to a couple guys. And if you're interested in that, I'll be happy to do an episode on that. But let's just talk about sugar daddies, sugar babies. And this is going to be a totally Ronin Man take on this. This is not, probably not anything you've ever heard before on this topic. So I want to say, one is it's much bigger than you might expect. I mean, it really is much bigger. And how I kind of found this out was a couple of things. And when I was visiting, I have a lot of Ronin Man friends, right? And they're very honest with me. They tell me, exactly what they're doing because they trust me, right? So I was back and I was visiting some friends, and the one friend, he used to pretty much every night he would take off, and I asked him, what's going on, and he said, I thought he had a girlfriend or something he didn't want to talk about, but he said, oh, I'm meeting these girls off of these apps. And he was in a very nice part of the U.S., right? And very expensive, exclusive area. And so I was like pretty surprised because this guy's a cool guy. This guy is a guy who can pull women like crazy. Like this guy's not your average guy. Definitely he's got the skills he needs. And I said, what do you mean you're meeting girls? Like, what is this, like prostitution? He said, no, it's escorts, right? And so he meets these. I forgot the names of the apps, but there were some apps he uses, and he would meet these girls, and I was really shocked because the girls that he met were basically, I saw them. I would see them pull up, and they're basically like good college girls. You know what I mean? Like the kind of girls that like the all-American girl. The one that you would never, basically the one that you would never think. Now, I don't know if he just chose those ones or if that was kind of a large demographic of the escorts, but it was really shocked to me because it was not the ones that I would think it was, right? It was not the ones that were, dressing, showing more skin. It was more like, it was really like the average. It was like the beauty queen who was, humble and a good student, and every guy secretly liked her because she doesn't flaunt it, that kind of girl. Like, it was really interesting, a very attractive woman, I would say, for most guys. These, here's what it is. They were fucking wife material, the ones that were escorts. That's the best label I can put. Yeah, I just thought of it. Wife material. And I assume that they're the ones who make the most money being an escort. So that's interesting in itself. Like, that society has now found a way to monetize wife material in like a really opposite way of what you would think. And also, as we know, the chameleon that is that a modern woman can be. I'm not saying every woman is a chameleon, but it's probably most, obviously most. And so this is something that doesn't stick to you, right? It's not like a tattoo. You get a tattoo, that sucker's on you forever, right? You become an escort, and it's like you're an escort in the summertime, and that's it, And you know what I mean? Nobody, as long as nobody knows, you just go about your business. And these wife material girls can make a good amount of cash, and no one even doubts that they would. I mean, I'm not kidding too. When I saw these girls, I was like, what in the fuck? I was like, no way. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, I'm talking sweet. I'm not just talking the way they dress. I'm talking about their deportment, the way they act. Very, very sweet and smart and funny and educated, and you know what I mean? Like, just daddy's little girl, and in the good way, you know what I mean? In the way that we always want as guys. And these are the ones that are being escorts. And when I say escorts, let's just put it down. Let's get rid of these words. It's he hands her a few $100. She comes over, pulls his pants down, sucks his cock. He pulls her panties down, eats her out, sticks his dick in her pussy, and the money is the compensation. And that's what escort is. Okay, so let's just call it what it is, right? That's what it is. That's what happens when you pay an escort, right? So I like to use that because I hate when words get too far away from reality. It's easier to misunderstand life. It's like you just imagine a wad of cash handing over to somebody. She smiles, and then she pulls your pants down, gives you a blowjob, and then you fuck her. And the complicated emotions happen regardless of with whether money exchanges hands. And this is something I really want to talk about too. I want to add it. This is a good episode. Okay, so when money changes hands for sex, society tries to say that's not love, that's not real. What else? Like for example, I live in Thailand, and anybody knows me or knows my podcast. I'm not into prostitutes, but it's obviously a huge thing here, right? It seems like every guy sometimes is into it, and I see these guys all the time, and I also see them getting married, having children. She gets out of the prostitution ring. Obviously, this is like a total fucking nightmare. I would never fucking recommend. It's like a 1 in a million. It's like the guy who jumped out of he fell out of a airplane. His parachute didn't open. He happened to land in a tree, and the branch was just the right amount that it broke his fall, and he just broke his hip, and lived. I guess he's the only guy who's lived, falling out of an airplane without a parachute. So it can happen, right? He just had broke his hip, right? No big deal, right? But I don't recommend jumping out of an airplane without a parachute, and I don't recommend dating a prostitute and marrying her, right? So don't get me wrong here. I'm kind of commenting on society around me. Okay, that's what I'm doing here. So, but I do see successful marriages coming out of it, and it's interesting. Of course, maybe they're 1 in a million. I don't know. Fuck, I have no. To be honest, I think they're total idiots. I don't understand why they would even do this to themselves, the guys. But let's just say, either way, that all regardless is that when a man and woman have sexual relations, it's game on. Anything can happen. It's not like, you know what I mean? It's not so clear. It's like when you have this physical relation with this other human being, it's way deeper than these other things, like money and what society thinks. And we're talking biology. We're talking about the essence of a human being. We're talking about stuff happens, and it can happen regardless of outside society, what they think or say, what the things you've been programmed to. So some of these guys, some of these people do have emotions and really strong emotions and do get married. So I don't know why I went off on that, but I just wanted to a little bit personalize this thing and talk about the fucking reality is there's no difference between a prostitute and a woman. Okay, so don't get this idea that there's these, you have to, like I mentioned before, it's good to hire a private investigator if you're getting married. Don't get the idea that you somehow find out the truth. Life is way more complicated than one fact. We all are. Girls are, we are, so Okay, this is a little bit of a rant there, but okay. So we have escorts. Okay, so escorts in the U.S. are huge, and another example. Okay, this one was a sugar baby example. I'm not going to give away any details because I don't want the person that was involved to anybody to know who he was. But there was a human being, a guy, and me and him met through a friend. And he was where I was, and so we went out, and he when I met him, he was what can I say? They were shopping for underwear with like two girls, right? They were both buying underwear, and it was sexy underwear, and so he said, oh, I have many girlfriends or whatever. But something I smelled that I don't know, just something I don't know, something in me just smelled a rat. I just kind of I mean not really. I didn't really. It was easy for me to believe because I've always been like that, and so it was it wasn't like that no one does that. It wasn't that kind of emotion. It was just like there was something in the way everybody was shopping that was weird, to me, and I was just like that's weird. So either way, so we went out, and then he asked me if we could call some other girls, and so I was like, well, what do you mean, like call some other girls? Like we can go to he wanted to go to the bars, and there's plenty of girls there, so I was like, okay, let's go to the bars, and then he like the girly bars. He wanted to go see the girls strip, so I was like, okay, let's go there, and we'll find you some girls. And he said, no, we need to get some models, so I had to get a modeling agency, right? Call them. I'd never done this before in my life. Call a modeling agency and get a couple of girls to come out with us and take pictures and this and that. And it was weird because to me, this was just so weird. It was such a weird night for me because essentially everything was so fake from the beginning, and then we took pictures, and we went out, and no details on what happened, but plenty of good stuff happened. But it was like I was confused at the end of the night. I was like, what just happened? Like, he was telling me these were his girlfriends, and like he's got girlfriends in this country and that country, and I don't know, just something just didn't maybe I'm a little bit naive with this stuff, So either way, I was telling my friend about it, and he said, those girls that he had were off a sugar baby website for sure. And I was like, a sugar baby website? Wow, this is the first time I, was confronted with it, like a real somebody using sugar baby. This guy is very, very wealthy, right? So, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I thought about it, and I started to think about the answers, because I was with this guy. I was kind of like chaperoning him, right, in the area we were, and I kind of like realized that the girls didn't know anything about him. That was what it was. That was the feeling, the eerie feeling I got on the first shopping trip, is that there was no deep knowledge of him, because like my girlfriends that they will know a lot about me. They'll know like deep shit about me. Just subtle things. They're going to know. They're going to be able to comment on things. The jokes, they're going to be inside jokes. They're going to know stuff about my friends. They're going to know, whatever preferences. They're going to know the way I act. They're going to know there's going to be some discussion about things that didn't happen just that night, right? But this night, everything was just about that night. Nobody could talk about anything else. And so I realized, they were sugar babies. So I started to really think about it. And obviously, I don't care. This guy was a cool guy. He was doing his thing. It's all good. I'm not sugar baby daddy. If that's your thing, totally, totally cool. I'd love to, if you have any questions about it, I'd love to give you some advice, because all these things present dangers for men. Okay, there's nothing that's easy for men. You have to always know, get wisdom from other guys. Because all these things can present major problems, because you're dealing with a human being. You're dealing with a woman. And that always puts you at a disadvantage emotionally, right? She's tougher than you, right? So I realized that, so through this whole thing, so long story short, is that I'm being confronted in my daily life with people using escorts, using sugar baby, sugar daddy websites. And I didn't even know it. In fact, if I wasn't perceptive, I wouldn't even know it. So you might think, oh, that never happens to me. It might just because you didn't notice, people are meeting through these things all the time now. They're huge. These websites get massive traffic, right? And so I'm not going to judge the good or bad of the girls, which is most web videos about this do. They're like, oh, the girl's a whore, he's not a whore. I'd like to talk about something else, and that is society as a whole. Okay, so why are these websites legal? Okay, so you have girls that are on TV accepting money, okay? They're going shopping. You can watch the video below, watch the ABC movie. You can see the girls are shopping, they're buying things, they're in the casino, they're doing this. They're getting money, and then they're talking about their relationship, and the guy said, yeah, sex has to be involved, or he won't do it. He's not interested. Okay, so, well, sex for money. What is that? Right? And then in the TV show, they say, watch it below. You definitely watch it. It says, is this prostitution? And I just think that question is just so hilarious. It's just so fucking hilarious. Because we look the other way on so many things, right? Society fucking ignores like reality of so many things. I mean, marriage is mostly prostitution, okay? Women are having sex with guys, okay? In the old days, they were virgins until they had sex with one sugar daddy who married them and basically bankrolled them for life and took care of their kids. I mean, there is, I just don't, I guess if you, I know some people are going to just like rebel against this, but it's so obvious, right? If you're paying a woman and you're paying her, giving her money, she's not working and you're paying her, and then she's having sex with you and nobody else, like, I just don't understand how that isn't sex for money. The only reason why it's not sex for money in your mind, in most people's mind, is that it's a lot of money and it's a big commitment. So let's go into those things. So why are sugar daddy websites legal? They're legal because the guys are getting reamed. That's the reason. Guys are getting ass fucked for tons of money for these girls, 15 grand a month. Then society says, okay, it's not prostitution. It's not illegal, right? But when the price comes down, right, like it used to be in Southeast Asia was $5 for a prostitute when I first moved to Asia. And that was for a beautiful girl too. And 2 for $10, right? So when that happened, that was prostitution, right? And so society was clamping down on that. Women's rights groups were down there, trying to shut this down and shame every guy. And again, you got to listen to these things with the fucking ears and brain. You guys, I am not into prostitution. I've said this a million times. I don't like it. I've always thought it's like an anomaly. I like when girls give me things. I like when girls like me. I don't want to pay a girl who doesn't like me to be with me. Okay, I'm not going to risk the fact that after we have sex, she's going to somehow start liking me. That's not my thing. That's not Ronin Man, okay? Ronin Man wouldn't even exist if I liked prostitution, because I would just go to the fucking bar, you guys. Fuck you guys. I just go to the fucking bar and pay, right? No, Ronin Man's not into that, right? I'm not into fucking prostitution. So I came here, it was $5, and don't read into it. This is what I was observing. I was out. I exist. I'm a human being. I'm social. I hear things. I see things. I walk down the street and exist, and these things exist, and I saw this, okay? And my friends were doing it. I was around it. It was part of society. It was a big part of fucking society here, okay? So if you live in Las Vegas, gambling's a big part of you. Does that mean you're a fucking degenerate gambler because you live in Las Vegas? So, I saw him on the fucking strip. He's a fucking gambler. It's like, no. He lives in Las Vegas, right? I stayed in Las Vegas for a few months once, and I hate gambling. The last time I gambled was, when the fuck was that? It was probably, let me think, I was 19, and I spent $50, I remember, because it was before breakfast. I was still drunk. I was 19, so it was 75, 90, 84. 1984 was the last time I gambled. I gambled $50, and I lost it before breakfast. We were waiting in line for a buffet, like a steak buffet for like $2. and there was like slot machines there on the way, and I spent $50 while I was waiting in line. They were giving champagne while you're waiting in line too, so I was getting a bit wasted. And that was the last time I gambled, because I thought, this is fucking stupid. I just lost $50, because at the time $50 to me was a lot of money. I was 19, right? Fuck, $50, I could fucking eat. I could eat 25 fucking dinners for that. It was $2 per dinner there, because they used to give you good deals to get you to come in, right? But either way, I didn't like it. So living in Las Vegas doesn't mean you're a degenerate gambler. Living in Asia does not mean you're fucking whoremonger, right? Which is, well, again, no offense to whoremongers. Guys have to do what makes sense to them, right? And maybe for a guy who's 72 years old who is, paying prostitutes that are 19 and beautiful, maybe it makes sense, right? It could very well make sense for that guy. So I don't want to rain on some guy's parade, and it might actually make a lot of sense for the girl to do that, to be involved in that for her from the countryside, and she wants to live in a big city, and she wants to move up in life and meet other guys and travel and get a passport. Maybe it would make sense for her, right? And it does make sense, and that's why it exists. That's why the market exists. Okay, so back to this thing is prostitution is illegal. Okay, so basically, what is prostitution? Prostitution is when I hand a girl a small amount of money, right? When a guy hands a girl a small amount of money, and then they have sex right away, and then she leaves. So prostitution, as far as I can see, what is prostitution? Prostitution is when she comes over for a short time, they call it 2 hours, or overnight, right? Long time. That's prostitution. In society's mind, that's illegal, right? Now, what is escorts? Okay, escorts are different, a little bit different, subtly different, right? The girls come over, they stay longer, right? They are not, what do you call it? They're not in the business, of being a prostitute. They're like college girls. So I guess that's the difference. I guess that's the fucking difference in society, is they are not full time and they're good girls on the outside. I guess that's what it is. That's what fucking the difference is. Is the girl is the two differences. In what is a prostitute, right? Is a 2 hour or overnight. That's a prostitute. And what is an escort? An escort is somebody who charges a lot more, okay, who doesn't work full time as an escort, and also, let me just give me 1 second. I gotta leave a message. Just give me 1 second. I'm working on a Running Man episode. I'll be done in a few minutes. Okay, leaving a message for my friend there. And so, think about the stupidity of this fucking shit. This is so fucking stupid. Like, how can you believe these bullshit society throws at you? So a prostitute is 2 hours or overnight, right? An escort, okay, different word, right? That's supposed to be a huge difference. Is somebody who doesn't work in a house of prostitution, who is an independent operator, and the ones that are attracted to this business are the more good girls, because they can lie, they can use deceit. So, they can trick you. So just like, today, there's a lot of fruits and vegetables that don't have any flavor anymore. And there's a lot of animals who are built, basically built, right? Not even grown by hormones and stuff. The farther food gets away from real food, right? It looks the same, but it's not the same. So it's like a table that looks like a wooden table, but it's actually, it's a plastic veneer over the top of, some kind of bullshit, shit wood, right? And that's the difference between, oak and fucking plastic covered fucking IKEA bullshit, right? So what you have now, escorts are basically the plastic covered bullshit. That's what they are. They look on the outside the same as, wife material. So this is a very good niche, because wife material girls are fucking hot in guys' minds. I mean, guys will pay massive money. I don't see this thing ever stopping. Now that girls can be secret about fucking guys for money, I see escorts as ruining wife material. And maybe wife material is going to go out of style. You know what I mean? When you start getting like serious VDs, like if you get an incurable VD from a wife material girl, who on the outside doesn't, sleep around. She's always a good girl. She never does anything wrong. And then you get like like an incurable VD that ruins your life. And that enough of these stories come out, right? It takes time for these things to play out. Good girls are playing the escort. That's what I'm telling you right now. So if you have a daughter, you better watch your ass and make sure you know what she's doing. I'm not saying you have to control her. I'm saying, up to you what you want to do with the information. But Ronin Man knows what the fuck's going on. And he always has his ear to the ground. And he finds out what the fuck's going on. And he deals with difficult situations even if he doesn't know how to deal with it. He knows how to reach out to other guys. He researches like a madman. He's honest with himself, and he improves his judgment over the years and gets better and better and sharpens the knife, right? So you need to know what the hell is going on with your daughter or your wife, because wife material girl. Okay, let's play this out. Let's talk reality here. Okay, so you're like the girl. You're the all-American girl, right? Okay, or not you are, but there's some girl out there, right? So she's in whatever, Shreveport, Alabama, and she's like a pretty nice girl. She looks good without makeup. She looks good with makeup. She looks good when you wake her up in the morning. She's always got a big smile. She's got a sense of humor. Maybe she has a couple of brothers, so she knows how to treat guys. And she's a good student. She tries her best. She tries to start a little business here and there. She's good to the neighbors. She's a babysitter. She's the girl that you think of as like low self-esteem in a way, because she's like so hot, really. To guys, she's so fucking hot, right? And then, but she's not like sledding around, right? So that's the perfect girl to be an escort. It's the perfect girl. That's the girl who'll make the big money in escorting, right? So these are the girls who are getting picked off, right? They're getting picked off. For a while, they were getting picked off for porn. With Pornhub came out, and those girls were getting kicked. Now the price is too high for them. There's a lot of videos like Hot Girls Wanted, and you see what they go through, and like now those girls are getting exploited. They're getting publicly shamed, and it's getting out, right? The whole key to a woman having a high value is not knowing her sexual history. That's the main thing, right? That's what makes her valuable to you. If you could see if there was a blockchain, the blockchain, anything on Bitcoin is always public, every transaction. So if you buy 25 cents in Bitcoin, you can look online and see your name's not there, but the number of your account, your wallet is there, and the transaction you can track every transaction on the blockchain. If there was a blockchain for women's sexual activity, you would have less interest in a lot of girls, because you'd be able to see, oh my God, like just last night, or like 3 times, you'd be able to see the history. Her whole thing is hiding that. That's what makes a woman. That's what guys are always trying to figure out. That's why guys are like, whether this is right or wrong doesn't matter. This is just the way sex is. Okay, guys, you don't want a woman who's having a lot of sex with tons of guys, because it gives you VDs. It's obviously the baby might not be yours. She might not love you. She might leave you. There's all these things that, whether this is old evolutionary stuff or out of date or whatever, it doesn't matter, because it's still here, right? It's like when you if you have, let's say you have an accident, you crash, and your body goes into shock. Shock was to slow down your bleeding and slow down your body, so because there was no doctors, right? So it's to give you a chance for someone to help you or do something or whatever. But now with doctors, shock actually hurts you, because you're going into shock, your body's slowing down. The doctor doesn't want that. They want you fully awake and your body moving, and then they can fix you easier. But it's one of these hangovers from the days when there was no doctors, there was no medicine, there was no hospitals. But shock still exists. So a lot of these things with men and women, they just still exist, and they exist in us, and they exist in girls, and there's nothing we can do about it, right? It's just part of the deal. So guys don't like that. That's not an attractive trait, right? The girl riding the cock carousel is not attractive. So these dating apps, what they do is they cash in. They're really going to make a lot of money. Expect these dating apps, these escort apps, and sugar daddy apps to go huge, especially sugar daddy ones, because there you're getting the cream of the crop. Now, not these girls in the video, because these are the girls that agreed to be on here. These girls are below average. I wouldn't even like both these girls. If they're coming over right now, I'd fucking turn off the lights and lock my door, pretend like I wasn't home. Like, I don't want neither of these girls or anything even Really, I would no interest in both these girls on the video, but very unattractive to me. But either way, they're obviously attracted to these guys. They have limited options. I think these guys are scraping the bottom of the barrel and paying for it. It's really pathetic to me. Oh, fuck. That's the thing that's pathetic to me. These girls are ugly, fat, and fucking disgusting. The girl with the tattoos and the second girl looks like a fucking rat. Like look at her fucking hair and stuff. And it's just like, fuck. Why would you give her money? And the dyed, it's just like. And the fakeness of the first girl, that's what bothers me about this video. Not so much that that she loves the kissing of the sugar daddy. That's fine. I don't mind, guys. But the fact that it's so fake and she's such a bad actress, that bothers me. If she was smarter, which she obviously isn't, then she would be able to do a better job. Maybe she gets older, she'll get smarter, but obviously her value is going to go down. So at this point in life. So, okay, so what's next? So you have now the best girls being secretly sold out from underneath you. Okay, like I saw when that guy came to visit me, and I see with my friend using the apps, and I see now there's another thing that's happening, which I'm going to talk another episode about, but that's a Chinese thing and it's getting really big. It's going to go global, and that is the live streaming thing. And I'm going to talk about that in another episode because it's really interesting. The live streaming thing with girls, fucking interesting. I see them all the time here in Bangkok, Chinese girls, tons doing this live streaming thing. This one will blow your mind. That episode is going to interest you because it's something you don't know about, and it's something that's coming to a town near you, right? It's coming to a girl near you in the fairly near future. It's kind of exploding right now in Asia. One of these rare technological trends that started in Asia, and it's very real, very big, and there's a lot of demand. And I'll give you the app if you want to see all the stuff that is going on. It's quite interesting, actually. Even just sociologically, it's interesting. Okay, so what is prostitution? And what is supposedly romantic love? What is the difference? I guess the difference is the time. So if you, for example, if you, let's talk about prostitution. So let's say that you go down to, Mexico or whatever. You go to some strip club and there's prostitutes there, right? And they're just straight up clean, money for sex, I remember this one girl banged on my door one time in Moscow, and I was sleeping, and she woke me up, and she looks at me like a man. She's like real rough, and she goes, sex for money. And I was like, oh my God, this is so bad. And then I said, I was just wanted to find out, just curious. I said, how much? And she said $500 US dollars. And I was just like laughing, like what kind of fucking idiot would give her. Like I would pay her money not to come in my house. That with a rough voice like that, looking like that. She was young, but she was looking rough. I was like, fuck. Thank you. You always got to be nice. Don't be mean to prostitutes. That's a very, very bad decision. They will get revenge on you. You ought to be nice. I'm always very polite when I get offers like this. I'm always like, oh, I'm so tired. Thank you very much. Good night. Have a good night. And then I close the door, right? Because the women that are prostitutes are very sensitive to being put down, and they will get fucking revenge because they're broken inside. And so if you treat them like a queen, like these girls in the video, they will they're okay with it, but they secretly know it's all shit inside, right? But if you call it out to them, right, even by the look you give them, or something like that, you're gonna get fucking paid, because these girls are like junkyard dogs. Because they're so broken inside that if you call it out, it's like it's so painful to them because it's bringing it out in the open. They don't want that. They want it to be secret. So they go the other direction where they want like a fur coat and sunglasses at night and all this stuff. And, a fake rented car, whatever it is that makes them look like a queen for the moment. And as long as you just kind of do that, even emotionally, they're totally fine with you. They'll treat you nice. They'll be fine. But if you fucking turn to these girls and say something like, are you fucking prostitute? Sex for money is prostitution. And they're just go nuts, right? No, you just always be nice. Always be nice. It's kind of like the meaner somebody is, or the more fucked up they are, you just don't want to tangle with them. There's no point in tangling with them because they can make you pay, and they have many ways of making you pay. They have to collect money from guys that don't pay. Often they carry guns. In the U.S., they have a little revolver. You know, you can ask to see it. If you meet an escort, you can say, "Hey, do you have any weapon?" Ask her. Have her show you. You'll see. They have shit in their bags. Tiny little pink bag, right? She'll have a fucking revolver in there. A tiny little one. And also, like, often, like, always have mace, right? And sometimes have something like some kind of knife or something. It's really amazing, actually, how they can go from, like, nice to, like, absolute junkyard dog in, like, 2 seconds, right? So you don't want to be the guy who does that, right? So, okay, so either way, I let her go, and I was like, but I was interested that she offered that. It was like, whoa, and there's obviously a market for that back then. You know, $500 for that girl? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, how much does my right hand cost? Like, nothing, right? And I had a Swedish girl with me too, so it wasn't a problem, right? But fuck, oh man, it's just sometimes I look at like the sex market as like a bunch of goonies and ghouls and some fucking, you know, those movies where everybody turns into fucking zombies and shit. When I look around me, I look at like relationships and like girls on these dating sites. I just like all zombies and fucking ghouls and goblins out there. Like, fuck, it's like, what the fuck are guys thinking, you know? I mean, you know, we can go into what these sugar daddies think, and that one, I will say they're totally fine. There's nothing judgmental, but it's like, is this their best decision in the whole world? If you have that kind of money, could they make a better decision? Fuck, of course they could, of course, you know. But you know, they're happy with what they're doing, so that's cool. Got to let them do what they do, and the same with the girls, right? But as a guy, as a MGTOW, how the fuck do you navigate this shit, right? You got to know this stuff. If you don't know what's happening, if you're like head in the sand about like escort sites, sugar daddy sites, and Craigslist and all this stuff going on, prostitution moved out of the fucking inner cities years ago, guys. It's now the girl next door. They're the hottest demand, and the reason why, it's supply and demand. These girls are the ones that you want to marry the most. So they're the ones who guys will pay to fuck the most. So you're competing now for a wife, but what do you give her? You don't give her shit, right? You fucking work hard and give her love, which, you know, whatever the fuck that, you know, and then you know, give her maybe fucking Valentine's chocolate or something. You can't compete with these dudes that are on the sugar daddy sites. You know, you just got to know that. You got to know that you can't, as a regular guy, you need some skills, baby. You can't just do it on your own. It doesn't work anymore. It used to work. It used to work in like a small town in the old days. You could have a hot girl. She lives next door to you. You fuck her. You marry her. You guys are like a team. You know, you move to, you know, the big city together. You both work. You slave. You know, you rent a shitty apartment. She has a baby, and you move forward. That kind of relationship could work. Now, I still don't think that's the best way to be as a guy. I think even back then, if you were a sailor going through the Philippines, you're going to have a much better fucking time than you would have with that one girl. But either way, it was possible to do that before. But now with sugar baby sites, taking away the best marriageable girls, and the whole point of these sites is that they don't have a tattoo on them. They don't have a sign on them. It's fucking invisible, and that's why it's so attractive to girls, because they are chameleons by nature, and every woman listening knows that's the way. It's a natural part of woman, which is fine. But you know, anything that's natural, you can't. It's just natural, right? It's just like, let's not berate the fucking obvious, right? You know what I mean? If you're fucking tall, you're fucking tall, right? If you got a small dick, you got a small dick. You know what I mean? If you can fucking jump 8 feet, you can jump 8. You know, like. Reality, if a girl has beautiful hair, she's got fucking beautiful hair, right? Another girl has shitty hair, she's got shitty hair, right? She can do all she wants, like this girl in the video, end of this video. She got terrible hair, right? You can't cover that up. You can't, there's no way to, it's just reality, right? So, okay, so let's accept reality as guys. Let's accept the very hardcore That's what I'm trying to say here, guys. The sex market has become very, very hardcore. If you don't know about the sugar daddy, sugar baby, escorts, dating sites, and if you don't know, like, just ask yourself this. When you walk out today and you go to school, let's say you're going to college, look around at the girls and realize escort sites are going crazy. Sugar daddy sites are like the most profitable, and obviously Ashley Madison, all these sites are making tons and tons of money, right? And, Pornhub is full of amateur young girls. Where are they? Who are they? Do they come from some like black hole somewhere? Do they not exist around you? You're like in a bubble where this doesn't affect you. None of the girls around you are affected by this. They're not part of this. No, it's the people that you know. It's your sister. It's your friend. It's your girlfriend. These are the ones being enticed into these sites. And these are the ones that are doing this stuff. And it's very attractive because they can keep anonymity, right? So, and again, I'm not out there. Do not think this for a second. I'm not out there to publicly shame women at all. In fact, I will tell you right now, and this is might seem like a contradiction, but I believe, this is what I believe, is it, and I've seen this so many times, that's why I believe it, is that a woman's femininity, right? Her true feminine nature, when she's really being feminine, when there's just there's just this lightness to her, you know what I mean? Like that, just looking at the daffodils, laughing at jokes, she feels totally safe. She feels like, you know what I mean? She feels like good about herself. She's got a sense of humor. She's joking around. Maybe you don't think it's funny, but she's enjoying it, and she just kind of is being a real girl, right? She's feminine. When you crush that, okay, and that can be crushed several ways. I believe it's like a flower that never, ever is the same again, right? So you got to be careful. You do not want to go around crushing girls. And if you doubt this, you go look around in your life for girls that are kind of depressed and down, and you can trace it back to something. There's something that crushed them. There's something that destroyed that fucking beautiful flower and sunlight that she had, right? And I'm not saying this is everything. I'm not saying you have to believe it's going to last forever or whatever. But it is a beautiful thing, right? It is neat, It's neat to see when a woman is truly feminine and she feels completely safe in her environment and she's herself and she's, you know what I mean? She's just very positive and optimistic about things. She wants to change the world. There's a lot of beauty in that, But when you crush that, when that gets crushed, either let's say war blows through and she gets gang raped by a bunch of guys, like say in Africa is happening. She's never going to be the same. Never, ever going to be the same because she'll always, it's that femininity can only grow in a very rarefied environment. And as soon as you take it away and destroy it, fear comes in and things change, right? And so I don't want to in any way be out there and even encouraging guys to go out there and crushing these girls, because if they're making these mistakes, they're going to learn their own mistakes. But I'm saying as a guy, you do not want to pay for her mistakes. Okay? So that's what I'm talking about here. Right? It's about you as a Roni man. You don't want to pay for her mistakes. And you don't want to be the fool that is fucking subsidizing this shit. Who believes that she's a good girl when she's getting fucked by guys for fucking money. And you can call it what you want. It's fucking prostitution. By any definition of the word. And you don't want to be sticking your dick in there when she's out there doing with other guys, doing risky behavior. And obviously a lot of things come along with this. Drugs, not sleeping, drinking, all kinds of things come along with living the escort lifestyle. And they don't have to, You could go to church every Sunday and you could eat all vegan food and you could, go be an escort. A girl could technically do that, but it's just so rare. It's like a guy could be a rock star and he could also be an Amish, But it's not so common, right? It's usually you get sucked up by the lifestyle around you and people influence you. You ping off them and your values change and you find yourself being like the 5 people you're around, right? And the same with the girls, right? So again, just don't be the guy who's the fool Roni Man is not the fucking fool. Roni Man is always trying to figure it out. Now we can be fools, okay? Don't get me wrong. I'll talk about the mistakes I've made at some episode. I'm happy to do that. Please ask questions because I'm happy to talk about that. We do make mistakes. We make terrible mistakes, but we learn from them, right? So in this case, you don't want to make this mistake. Girls that are selling their body for money, you don't want to fucking be subsidizing them and thinking them your sweetheart, right? That's for many, many reasons you don't want to do that. And a lot of the reason is, and the main reason I see, besides all the stuff I've talked about, but it is the fact that once she's done it once, it's always an option. Okay? One time I was super, super angry at this guy. I was fucking really angry. This guy fucked me over so bad. And I know this guy who's a basically bad guy, right? And I called him up and I said, hey, I want to kill this guy. I said this, this is like 20 years ago. And he said, oh, okay. And so we sat down and it went to be alone. And he said, so tell me what the guy did. And I told him. And then he looked at me very, very sternly. And I knew this guy had killed people. So I was like, I was kind of surprised that he was so serious. He said, I thought he was going to laugh and say, yeah, you should do it. No, he was like totally serious. He looks at me and he goes, if you do this, he said, I'll teach you if you want. But he goes, if you do this, you'll never be the same. He goes, you will always have that as an option in your life. And every time someone pisses you off, you will always know, because he said, I'll teach you, and you will never get caught. He said, but you got to think about it seriously if you want to have that as an option in your life, because that's a darkness that you can't get rid of. And so I went to sleep. I went home. I called him the next day and I said, no, thank you. Don't teach me. I don't want to do it. And I said, at the time I said, I still don't know if it was true, but I said, what he did deserved it, but I don't want to live with it. And now, 20 years later, I wonder if he really did deserve it. I don't know. I was really pissed off, which is pretty rare for me. I was really fucking pissed off. But what the point of the story is that once you turn the dark road and something is an option, it always is an option because now you know how to do it. It's easy, right? So once women have one reason why you don't want a girl who's been an escort is not because of the VD, not because of the money, not because of the fact that she's running around, not because of the influences on her, but once she's done it once, as soon as she's pissed off, it's very, very easy to do it again. And that's what's happening. You're seeing a lot of mothers who escorted when they're young, right? Then they became the good girl, got married. Then they found out it wasn't everything they wanted. They didn't get everything they want. Now they start escorting as mothers and they're starting to get caught. And you see them in the news and they're like mothers of 4 and they're being escorts on the side. And the guy's like, what the fuck? Right? So that started with the fact that she was involved with it once. That's the other reason why you want to know for fucking sure, right? There's going to be that one girl in 100 or 2 girls in 100 who will never do it again, right? Who would never even think about it again. But at least you want to know her history. You want to know so you're not the dumb guy that's being the fool, right? That's what it's all about. We don't want to be the fool. We want to be the guy who figures it out, right? Who does the best with what he has in life. Every day is a fucking treat, Last night was a super big rain here. It was huge rain. It was like 3 feet deep water. And today it's sunny outside. I'm going with my friend and we're going to the computer store. We're going to buy a bunch of new shit. And I'm stoked about that. So it's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful life. And the way you stay happy is by being as smart as you can and knowing what's going on around you. No longer being the fool. Right? Hey, thanks, guys. Thank you so much for your comments. I fucking hope you liked this episode. I hope it brought some ideas, and I'd love to hear your comments, your experience with these, how you kind of bumped up against these sites, bumped up against girls doing this, bumped up against guys, friends of yours that were doing it. I'd love to hear the specifics because it's quite interesting because this is a trend that's happening in our life. Is that now regular girls are doing sex for money. It's not called prostitution. It's called all these other names. But, either way, it's something that, I would consider sex for money and you want to know about, right? So there you go. Roni Man signing off. Please subscribe if you haven't already and go back and listen to the old videos because there's a lot of good shit in there. There's a lot of good shit. I've really tried to pour my heart out here, right? So thanks, guys. Have a good one.